This might sound surprising, or it might sound not surprising at all. But the fact of the matter is that you can often tell the subtype of INFJ you are if you look back at how you were in school. We'll assume that, since we're talking about a period of life before the age of 20, INFJs, temporal beings, the spiritualized INFJ doesn't really come into the picture because the spiritualized INFJ is an individuated INFJ and therefore is always a creature of maturity. But nevertheless, you can have the secure INFJ, you can have the compliant INFJ and the solipsistic INFJ. Probably also certainly also nowadays, the spinning INFJ that I've been covering a bit more lately. However, at this stage, I'm still unsure about how I would describe them, although I could give it an attempt in terms of school behavior. School performance as well, or more specifically, performance in relation to how, as an INFJ, you approach your schoolwork. School is a domain of conformity, of rules and norms. It is not an area which usually encourages or rewards originality in thought and creativity. This is something that becomes more valued as you go into university studies, even more so in your postgrad studies, PhD, if you go that far, and so forth and so on. So school is a space of conformity. And so what you'll find is that conforming INFJs, compliant INFJs, tend to go against the calling of their NI, are a little bit scared. In a sense, the distrust that the compliant INFJ feels towards their NI is kind of exacerbated for the first time during school. They experience this kind of tension between the desire to approach things their own way, particularly in, say, like in literature or history and geography, where there is a bit more room than perhaps in maths, although there is room in maths too, but they'll tend to feel conflicted about just following the rules as the teacher said, or kind of going a bit their own way. They'll usually side with following the rules and being reassured by that, but frustrated too. Maybe at this time in their lives, they can't conceptualize their frustration, but it does come from like a first manifestation of a repression of their individuality. The solipsistic INFJ is much more likely to react against the rules and try to, oh, excuse me, my phone almost fell, almost try to, confound expectations, do something that is really outside of the norm, which by the same token reveals that they fundamentally still care about the norms, but they position themselves in opposition. Okay, so that's the kind of counterphobic side of the solipsistic INFJ. Whereas the secure INFJ is more likely to kind of be an average student in some weird way, because they won't feel the pressure to excel since their superego is not as strong. They're happy to be themselves. They have really good results in areas they really like and not so good results in areas they like less. They'll usually bloom more likely in university when they can focus on things they're good at, but they won't put too much pressure on themselves, and they will usually sort of hit a middle ground, fairly normal middle ground for the NI mind, between the regimented nature, what school expects, and the free-flowing original nature of the true calling of NI, which is only kind of coming into its own, during the teenage years. So that's how I would describe those three attitudes. And depending on where you find yourself in these three attitudes in school, that might give you a strong clue to the subtype of INFJ you are, unless you've since spiritualized, of course. When I have figured out more thoughts about the spinner and where the spinner would fit in this narrative, of course, I'll share thoughts in that regard. Don't forget that I have written 2 books on the INFJ, the latest one being The Infinite Soul, INFJ Life in the Modern World, which you can get at the first link below. It's really good, helped a lot of people. So has The Ecstatic Soul, a new look at the INFJ personality, which is my first book and the deepest investigation into the INFJ mind that you can find online. Check it at the links below. And don't forget that the lifeblood of my channel is Patreon, guys. So if you would like to support me to keep this channel going, to keep it afloat, I would appreciate it so much if you made a generous donation. Don't forget you get access to the Discord server of my channel and interact with the cool people there, as well as bonus videos every 2-3 weeks, a deep dive into a topic of your choosing. In fact, I released one today. So for that one, the previous ones, and more in the future, join Patreon. Okay, so see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.